Hello, beautiful people. Happy New Year. Welcome to our first tutorial in 2024. Wishing you all a blessed year. My name is Taiwo, and you're welcome back to my YouTube channel, Easy Sewing with Tyke. So, today on the channel, today we'll be drafting. I will be sewing this gorgeous bolero jacket with this beautiful statement sleeve. So, if this is something you're interested in, which I think you should, then you should keep watching. If today is the first time of coming across the channel, you're welcome. I'm excited to have you here. And to all my new and existing subscribers, thank you all for your show of love. Your support via diverse means keeps me going. I appreciate you all. Please don't forget to subscribe if you're yet to like, share, and leave a comment for me. Now let's get started. Now here's my pattern paper. I'm gonna to divide it into two. I'll be using a part for the front and I'll be using a part for the back pattern. So where I'm touching that red mark is my start point. So I won't be starting this measurement from the apex of the paper because this is an high neck. So I need space for the neck extension. So I came down by 2.5 inches. So you want to take note of that. So that's my start point. The next thing I'll be doing now is to start imputing the vertical measurements. And the first one will be the armhole line or the chest line. So to get this, the formula to achieve that will be on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and put that and roll it across. I'm going to need this for the front pattern and for the back pattern, after which I'm going to go ahead and put in the bust point measurement. So I need this only for the front pattern, so I'll be rolling it across the space that I'll be using to draft out my front pattern only. And the final vertical measurement is going to be the length of this jacket. So the length of this jacket is the half length, that's the shoulder to the waistline, and the front half length is 16.5. So I'm going to go ahead and measure that out and mark it out only at the front, because by now if you have been following my tutorial videos, then you know that the front half length is usually longer than the back half length because of the bust bulge. So the initial line that I have there is the length for the back half length. So for this particular pattern, the front half length is 1.5 inches longer than the back half length. As we proceed into this class, the side will match up at the end of the day, so not to worry about that. But if you want to understand what I mean better, then check out my video on how to take accurate body measurements and how to draft a basic bodice for you to understand better. I'm done putting all the vertical measurements, which is the chest line, the bust point, and the full length. Now going in with the first horizontal measurement, which is the shoulder measurement. So the shoulder measurement that we're working with is 15, and now we assume that this paper is on fold, so I'll be marking out 7.5. 7.5, because when it is opened, that I will have my 15. So I'm going to mark that on the start point line and on the chest line. I'll repeat the same thing for the back pattern as well. Then I would connect the two lines together like so. Next thing I'll be doing is to mark out the neck dimension, which is 3.5 by 3. Note, this is not the final neckline. That is why I'm going to be marking this with a dotted line. This is just to enable me draw out the shoulder slope. I'm going to mark that out with a dotted line. Then starting from the start point, I'll come down by 1 inches for the shoulder slope, and then I'm going to roll it across like so. After which, on the chest line, I'm going to put in the bust measurement. The bust measurement, I'm going to go ahead and put it there. After marking it, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. This is to make the armhole for the front. On that 2 inches mark, I'll come in by half inches. Then I'm just going to connect the three lines together like so. And I've drafted out the armhole for the front. Now repeating the same thing for the back, I'll mark out the neckline. Note again, this is not the final neckline. Here 3.5 by 1. I'll go ahead and mark it out to the dotted line. I'll come down by half inch, not 1 inch this time around, for the shoulder slope. After which I'm going to go ahead and put in the bust measurement on the chest line also. Once I'm done with that, I'm just going to go ahead and mark out the armhole. What I have left there, I'll divide it into two, and I'll just connect the three lines together. Now I've successfully draft the armhole for the back also. Now the next thing I'll be doing is to create or to mark out the dart line. So coming down by 1 inch from the bust point, I'm going to go in by 3.5. 3.5, which is the bust span measurement. The bust span measurement is 7 inches. Half of that, because this is assumed to be on fold, is 3.5. I'm going to mark 3.5 all the way from 1 inches below the bust point and rule it to meet the length of this pattern like so. After which I'm going to come out by half inch on both sides of that line and connect it in a triangular form all the way to the apex like so. After which I'll go ahead and put in the waist measurement on that length line. So the waist measurement that we're working with is 20, that is 7 inch. I'll be adding 1 inch for the dart intake, that is 8 inch. You want to remember to do this so you don't have shorted in your measurements. Then I'll connect what I have all the way to the bust measurement. Now, after taking the waist dart, the next thing to do is to take in the bust dart. Remember I said that the front is longer than the back. The front half length is longer than the back half length because of the bust bulge. So you want to take out that difference. So you want to measure out the difference that you have there. We have 1 inch. So come down by that difference from the bust point line. Just follow through with what you can see me do. Then connect it all the way to the bust span measurement, which is 3.5. And there you have it. You have successfully taken out your bust dart. When we close this up now, it will make the two sides to match up and it will be perfect. Moving on to the back, I'll go ahead and take in the waist dart just the same way I did for the front. After which I'll go ahead and put in the waist measurement. Remember to add the 1 inch for the waist dart and connect it all the way to the bust point. So because we are making a jacket and because this jacket will mostly be worn over a dress, it is important to make the armhole bigger. It is important to extend the armhole so that it can accommodate the dress that will be underneath it. Now to do that, here is what you want to do. You want to extend your shoulder slope. So in this case, I'll be extending it by half inch. You can go ahead and extend it by 1 inch depending on the size. Then on the chest line, come down by half inch also. Come down by half inch as well. So you can see I've extended the shoulder slope by half inch and I came down by half inch on the chest line. All you have to do is to just connect the new 3 points like so. Connect the new 3 point like so. So the new armhole we are working with is the one that I marked out with the blue. If you go ahead and measure the previous one with your tape measure and you measure the new one with your tape measure, you discover that this new one is actually bigger than the previous one. And this is actually better because it's a jacket, like I said earlier. It will create enough room to accommodate the dress underneath and it will not be too tight at the armhole area. So I've gone ahead to extend this armhole now. Then I'll go ahead and do the same thing, repeat the same thing for the back. Note that you can go as high as 1 inch depending on the size you are working with. But for the purpose of today's tutorial, I choose to extend this by half inch. Now it's time to alter the neckline, starting with the back. Determine how high you want it to be. So I want mine to be 1.5 inches high. I do not want it to be higher than this. So you want to mark that from your shoulder line, from the start point, mark it. Then note what you have for your neck width, which is 3.5 in this case, but I would advise that you use 3 inches. Then you want to rule a straight line all the way like this. I'm making use of a pen because this is not the final marking. And then from that 3.5 mark, you want to come in by half inch. You want to come in by half inch. Just follow through closely with what you can see me do. Then slant it this way. This is because you want the neckline to be narrower. As it goes higher, you want it to become more narrow so it can fit perfectly. So this slanted line now is the final line that I will be marking, which is why I used my marker for that. After which, at the center back, you want to come up by 1 inch. Now you can come up by 1.5 and have a straight line, but I prefer if the center back is a little bit curved. I feel it will sit well better this way, and also it depends on the style and the look you are hoping to achieve at the end of the day. So I'm just going to connect it like so and have a curved line this way. Now we are done, but you don't want to leave it looking this way. You don't want to leave that shoulder line having this sharp end. So you just want to go ahead and give it a curve like so. Just want to go ahead and give it a curve, and we are done. Now it's time to alter the front neckline. So to alter the front neckline, you want to go ahead and increase it by 1.5 like we did for the back. You want to go ahead and measure it and rule a straight line. This process is the same. Once you are done with this, come in by half inch just like we did to the back neckline. You just want to narrow this. So go ahead and mark it out and give it a slanted line. Next thing to do is determine where you want the curved shape to stop at the side. So I came in by 1.5 on the waistline that way. Also determine how open you want the neckline to be at the center front that way. So I came in by 1.5. That is, when it is open, it will be 3 inches. The wideness is fine by me that way. So you want to connect these 3 points together to have your curve. Just follow through with what you can see on the screen. So all I'm doing is to connect the 3 points together to achieve the desired shape that I want for this sewing project. So you can go ahead and use a pen first before using your marker. And this is what I have at the end of the day. I'm satisfied with this. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and just give that shoulder line a curve that way. We do not want it to have a sharp end. Just go ahead and curve it out. And now it's time to cut out our pattern. I'll go ahead and cut it out before closing off all the darts, because I will be closing off the darts on the pattern. I won't transfer the darts to the fabric at all. So for the back pattern, I'm just going to go ahead and fold the dart this way. Just go ahead and fold it that is way. Fold one dart leg and make sure that it aligns with the second one. And I'm just going to secure it with the paper tip. So you should have this once you are done. The two sides will not match up, but not to worry, that's because we have not closed in the bust dart. So you want to go ahead and close in the bust dart this way. Just the same process. Fold in one dart leg and make sure that it's matched up with the second one. Secure it with your paper tape, and voila, you have it. The sides would match up. So we are done with our pattern. Our pattern is ready. It's time to transfer this to the fabric. Now here are my patterns that's been transferred onto the fabric. So this is the front. I went ahead to add half inch all the way at the center that way. Then I added half inch all the way at the shoulder area. Then I added allowance at the side, like 1.5 inch allowance to join it. So I'm using this same fabric for the main jacket and the lining. Because it's actually small, I felt it doesn't make sense to just cut a facing. The facing would be really small and all of that. So the lining is half-inch shorter than the main fabric. You can see that what I'm showing you, it is half-inch shorter than the main fabric. And here is the back pattern. I added half-inch at the neck area that way, at the shoulder. Then I added the sewing allowance 1.5 inch at the side. Then I added 1 inch at the lower part because I'm going to be folding that with an M gum. So the back has a facing unlike the front, and that is the facing that I've gone ahead to cut out for the back. So I'll be adding a facing to the back, while the front would have a full lining. Now it's time to start sewing. Now, starting with one side of the front first, you place the lining on the main fabric that way. Then I'll go ahead and sew it at the hem. I'll make sure that it matches up at the hem. I'll go ahead and sew it using 1/2 inch. After which, you want to go ahead and adjust it this way. You want to go ahead and fold the main fabric now, making sure that when it is folded, plus the 1/2 inch that you have used to join into the lining, you have 1 inch that way. You want to measure it and make sure that you have 1 inch, which is the allowance that I added to the main fabric at the end. So I'll go ahead and note that place and sew it all the way at that curved part using the 1/2 inch allowance that I added while transferring to the fabric. So I'll go ahead and sew it all the way. The next thing to do now is to go ahead and notch it properly all the way while you top stitch. You top stitch on the lining, not on the main fabric. Just want to go ahead and top stitch that way. You can see how the hem is looking. Yes, this is why I use that method. So I went ahead to repeat the same process for the other side of the front. Now it's time to move to the back. Now I'll go ahead and turn the neckline with the facing. I'll be sewing it by 1/2 inch. After sewing, I'll make sure that I notch it properly and top stitch on the facing. top stitch on the facing, and this is what I have. The next thing to do now is to join both the front and the back together at the shoulder. So here is how I'm going to do it. You want to place the right side of the front facing the right side of the back. Then you want to spread out the you want to spread it out this way, making sure that the shoulder of the main fabric of the front matches up with the shoulder of the main fabric at the back, and then the lining of the front matches up with the facing of the back. So you're just going to go ahead and sew it by half an inch. I prefer this method to join the shoulder. It makes it neat as all the same allowance would be enclosed. And this is it. This is what I have. Now I'm going to go ahead and take it to the ironing table and give it a good press. So this is it. I'm done ironing. I'm done ironing. You can see how flat it looks. So those half-inch allowance that was used to join it at the shoulder, you want to make sure that you notch it properly. Then also I added an M gum all the way at that front part, that curved part at the front neckline, the back neckline, the shoulder area. I added an M gum so it can lay flat properly and the lining will not be popping out. Then the M of the back, I folded it using an M gum as well, as you can see. So this is the inside. You can see how I notched it. I made sure it was properly notched. I added an M gum all the way there also so it can lay flat. This is the M of the lower part. So the next thing to do now is to join the front and the back together at the side using the 1.5 inch allowance that was added while transferring to the fabric. Now go ahead and join it at the side like I said earlier, and this is what I have. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess allowance. So if you are making yours, you can add just 1 inch allowance to yours. Now it's time to go ahead to the cutting table to cut out the sleeve. So here's my fabric for the sleeve. I've gone ahead to fold it into 8. Because of the style of this sleeve, I'm using the same fabric as my lining. So that's why I folded it into 8. At the end of the day, I'll be able to get 4 sleeve from this. So 2 sleeve per one hand. The length here is the length of my desired sleeve. You can see the sleeve style. You can see that the length is around the fingers. So just go ahead and put in your desired sleeve length. So I've gone ahead to draft my sleeve armhole curve and I made it like an A shape. You can see that the side line is slanted and not straight, as if we are making a straight sleeve. So I have a detailed tutorial on how to draft your basic sleeve already. The link to that will be in the description. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out now before we alter it into the main style that we're trying to achieve today. And this is what I have. The 4 pair of sleeve is ready. So to alter it, I will need to open it up like so. So after opening it up, you want to mark out the center this way. So I chalked mine out with the white chalk, as you can see. So from the center that way, you just want to go ahead and measure 4.5. Then you want to mark and note where that 4.5 stopped. That way, make sure you curve your tape measure. Just follow through with what you can see on the screen. So then from that marked point, you measure what you have all the way to the center. I think I have 3.5 or 4. Then you want to go ahead and mark that 3.5 all the way to the M line. That way to have a straight line. Now all that you have to do is determine where you want your slit to start from. So I'm just going to go ahead and measure from the top that way. I'm going to go ahead and measure 8 inches. You can make yours shorter or longer. So that remaining part that I have there, I'm going to go ahead and cut through it. That is going to be the slit at the sleeve. After which I'll go ahead to the sewing machine. I'm going to sew it by 1/2 inch at the end that way. Then I'm going to go ahead and sew it all around the slit to turn it with the lining. I'm going to show you what I have. So this is what I have. See how beautiful it is. So here is one more thing. Make sure that before you cut out your sleeve, you want to make sure that the armhole at the side you are cutting out your slit is the armhole that is facing the front. It is very important because this slit falls to the front. So you want to make sure that you take note of that before cutting out your slit. So now I'll go ahead and repeat the same process for the other sleeve. When I'm done, the only thing left is to attach this sleeve onto the jacket, and voila, that is all. And that will be all for today. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you gain value. If all of this is yes, then kindly give it a thumbs up. Don't leave without liking. Share it, okay? Leave a comment for me. Let me know what you think. You can also connect with me on other social media platforms. It's at EasySewing with Tyke on Instagram and on Facebook. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you are yet to do so. Thank you and see you in my next video. Bye.